Hi everybody, this is Jim here. Today we're going to make no pasta lasagna. That's right, no pasta lasagna. Instead of using noodles, we're going to actually use vegetables as our pasta. We're going to set the oven at 350 and we'll get that warming up for us. Next thing we're going to do is our noodles. We're going to take an eggplant. We're going to take actually 2 eggplants, 3 yellow zucchinis, and 3 green zucchinis. That's going to be our noodle base for this recipe. I like to peel the vegetables. It doesn't actually call for that in the recipe, but I think they give a little bitter of taste. So what I like to do is to peel them before I slice them. So let's go ahead and get that done. I have one of these little magical things. They work great. Peel. Maybe we won't. There we go. Very easy. Don't have to get it all off. Whatever your preference. If you want to leave it on, that's perfectly okay. Got one done. So let's show you how we want to slice this. We want to slice this lengthwise. What we're going to do is make a noodle out of it. First thing we want to do is get a flat surface. So to do that, I'm going to make one slice so that I can lay the zucchini down. Now I'm working on a surface that's much safer. It's not going to roll and the knife's not going to give me grief. And then you just go as thinly as possible and make nice thin slices, maybe about 1/4 inch, right on through. And what we're going to do, we're going to lay those out in a pre-greased pan. You get as many on here as you can. As you can see, it uses up a pretty good amount of tray. And there you have it. So that's one tray. And I usually do several of these trays, pop them all in at once. The next thing we'll do is we'll do our yellow squash. Basically, we're doing the same routine on the yellow squash as we just did on the zucchini. Slices, first we get a flat surface so it doesn't roll around. And now very thinly on the yellow, as thin as you can get it. Just be careful. We want the red sauce in our lasagna to be tomato sauce, not blood sauce. And these will become, again, part of the noodles. This is our pasta in our no pasta lasagna. First time I made this recipe, I thought it was really cool that there was no pasta, no cheese, no ricotta. And it really turned out to be delicious. So it's one of the regulars that I make now. Again, we're going to do the exact same thing now on our green squash. And like that. So there we have it. We have our yellow squash, our green squash, and our eggplant. That's it on our noodles. Now let's bake them up. We're going to pop these in, all 3 at once. And we're at 350. We're going to bake these for about 10 minutes. Our eggplant is ready to come out. So let's see what we've got. Oh yeah, there we go. And there's what your zucchini should look like. It's baked to where it is not all the way cooked, but you can see it's very flexible like a noodle would be. So you can just take these, let them cool slightly, place them out on a tray, and you can see these are nice and flexible, but they're not firm, which is exactly what we want. They have kind of a consistency of a noodle. And this time we'll do our green zucchini, same way we did the yellow. And for the same temperature, same time, about 10 minutes. Okay, so here we have it. We have our squashes ready to go back in the oven. We're on 350. Let's go ahead and cook these up. Our eggplant is done. In the oven we have our yellow and our green squash. And I just heard the buzzer go off, so those are ready. Let's bring those out now. And there we have it. Put that on a privet. And we'll do the same thing we did with our eggplant. Take our yellow squash, which is done, very thinly sliced, and we'll just place it on this tray. And we are ready for noodle assembly when the time comes. And that completes step 1. Our noodles are ready. Now let's work on the next step. This is where we're going to make our tofu ricotta. We're going to use a Vitamix. We're going to take our Italian seasonings and basil, which I've measured out here, 2 tablespoons of each, 4 teaspoons of garlic, 1 package of silken tofu and 1 cup of vegan gourmet mozzarella and 1 onion, which I've chopped up here in quarters. So I'm going to take the silken tofu first. We'll open this up and open up our Vitamix and go ahead and get our silken tofu into the Vitamix. And you can see silken tofu is kind of the consistency of, let's say, a pudding, a thick pudding. And it's used in a lot of recipes. It's a soy product, non-GMO. We'll put that all in there. And also we'll put in our onion. That's 1 small onion, chopped in quarters. I actually chopped it in about 1/8. And our garlic. Boy, that smells. And our seasoning. And we'll get that pureed up. We're going to hold off on our cheese for the moment. We'll cap our Vitamix. And we'll get this pureeing. And we'll bring that down. And once it's pureed, and we'll add our cheese, 1 cup of gourmet vegan mozzarella, and we'll blend that in a little bit, not much, and we're good to go. Pureed garlic, onion, and all. Put that right in here. You can see it's like a creamy texture at this point. But it's got all our spices and our garlic. And now we'll take our firm tofu. And firm tofu has a much heavier feel to it. As you can see, it can be cut and sliced. What I'm going to do is just slice it up real good here. Basically, what we want is we want crumbles. And we're going to stir it in to our tofu mixture. And now we can mix this together, and that is going to be our tofu ricotta. Okay, we've cooked up our noodles. We've made our tofu ricotta. And now it's time to saute the rest of the vegetables in this recipe. So, I've got some yellow pepper, which I'm going to take the pits out here, the seeds. Slice them in half. There's our peppers. And we need another pepper, which is a red pepper. We're going to take that one. Same deal. Yeah, kind of bite-sized pieces is what you're looking for here. Okay, there's our peppers. And now our broccoli, which I've washed. Take our florets. And again, bite-sized pieces here. And I've got some mushrooms here. This is a mixture of oyster mushrooms, cremini mushrooms, and I believe white mushrooms as well. But mushrooms are great. One of the power foods from Dr. Furman. That's part of your G-bombs. And we're going to take these vegetables, pop them into this saute pan. Pop that in right like that. And I'm doing 2 portions. So this is half of what we'll actually use. Let me chop these mushrooms a little bit. Get a little finer chop on the mushrooms. Those all in there. And we're going to saute these on low heat. No oil. Perhaps a little bit of water. And that's called water sauteing. It's very simple to do. If you're going to water saute your vegetables, I have one of these little water containers, and you can just put that in there when you need a little water to substitute for the oil. And also this recipe calls for spinach, so I want to pop the spinach right on there as well. Lots of spinach. Now of course the spinach will all shrink down very quickly. And we're going to saute this up for about 5 minutes or so, just until the vegetables are tender. And that looks nice. Okay, once the veggies are ready, we'll be ready to put this all together into a wonderful no pasta lasagna. Stay tuned. Okay, I've got all our ingredients ready for the next step. Our vegetables are just about finished. You can see the spinach has sauteed down. So we have our vegetables ready to go. And now it's time for the last step in this process, which is assembling the lasagna. First thing you want to do, I use Francesco Rinaldi as my sauce. I find that it's low sodium. If you want to make your own homemade sauce, that would be fine as well. But we're going to use this version. We're going to take a little bit of sauce and we're going to coat the bottom of our pan. And then we'll start layering, beginning with our eggplant. We'll do our eggplant layer first. And this would be just like you would lay out lasagna noodles where you're making traditional lasagna. Okay, so we have our first layer, which is our eggplant. And now we'll go with a little bit of green squash. And we'll kind of fill in some of the spaces a little bit. Okay, and now a little bit of yellow squash. Okay, so we've got our first layer of vegetables down, which is the zucchini, the eggplant, and now we're ready for the next item, which is a layer of sauteed vegetables would be the next thing to put on. So we'll bring our sauteed vegetables over and we'll put a layer of those on. Oh boy, this smells delicious. And you should be using about half of the vegetables on this layer. Now we're going to take our tofu ricotta and we're going to pop that on there and work that in a little bit. Now a little bit of grated vegan mozzarella cheese, and we'll grate a little cheese right on top of that. Not too much. That's what your first layer looks like. And then we'll add a little bit of tomato sauce to this and spread that around a little bit, and then we repeat the process. And last, our mozzarella cheese. And one last ingredient, and this is Go Veggie, which is a Parmesan flavored cheese. And we are good to go. And there it is, folks. There is our no pasta lasagna. And you can see, even before we get it in the oven, it looks delish. So let's pop it in the oven. We're going to put this in the oven, uncovered. We're going to bake this at 350 degrees for about an hour. Okay, it's been about 60 minutes. Vegetable lasagna has been in the oven. It's about ready to come out. So let's take a peek, see how we did. Oh yeah, looks good. Let's get it out. Oh yeah. There we go. Doesn't that look great? And there's our vegetable lasagna. Now, it's interesting to know, this says it serves 8. So you can see this is a pretty good size portion. If you follow the ingredient list, which I'll post on the at the end of this video, you can enjoy your piece knowing that you've only consumed 277 calories, 14.9 grams of protein, 50 carbohydrates, 4.9 grams of fat, and 194 milligrams of sodium. So quite a healthy dish, as opposed to traditional lasagna with all the cheese and noodles and what have you. So there you are, no pasta lasagna. This is Jim saying thanks for watching. Enjoy your vegetable, no pasta lasagna.